Hello everyone. Thank you for having me. This is my second Women Who Code event. I was at the one that was hosted here last time. What was that called?
The end of year party.
Yeah, I repped for IT, put up the projection screen and all that stuff. So now I am, doing things with you guys, and I'm really excited to be more involved with you guys. So if you didn't catch my name is Samaria Taylor, and I'm one of the support technicians here at Alkami. I will have worked here for almost a year in March, which is wild. So here's a little bit about me. I am a mom of 2 little girls. I made sure to include pictures of them throughout these slides, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Any chance I get to show someone my kids, I do. And I'm an Amazon Prime enthusiast. Like, you guys don't even understand. Like, I don't even add to cart, I just click buy. Like, that is like the level that I'm at, to where like, it's a real problem. And honestly, Christmas excited me because it just gave me an excuse to shop on Amazon, truly. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna be telling you guys pretty much a little bit about my journey to where I am right now. My journey was not very traditional, so hopefully I can be relatable to you guys. I understand that everyone's past and background is different, so hopefully I can do a good job of kind of walking you guys through my life. So I am not originally from Texas. I moved to Texas when I was about 7 years old. So I don't know if I qualify as a Texan yet or what, but yeah, I lived in Oklahoma City for the first couple of years of my life, and then I moved to Texas. And I lived in Louisville, Texas for the better part of my life, and I actually graduated from Louisville High School. So Louisville feels most like home to me, but I don't currently live there, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I was a fighting farmer, and yeah, that's exciting. Okay, so after I graduated from high school, I kind of was like a lost little soul, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I was like, hey, my friends are going to college, I'll do that. So I applied to a couple colleges. I was accepted into a few. I chose to go to Texas State because I heard it was a party school. I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna go there. Little did I realize that it was far away from my family, and I'm also super introverted, so I was like, all right, I kind of miss home. My dad forced me to complete a full semester before I moved back, because after 2 weeks, I was like, I'm ready to go. Like, when is this over? So yeah, I completed 1 semester, and then I was like, all right, I'm homesick. I was literally like falling into like a depression, I felt like, because I'm not like super extroverted and someone who wants to go out. Like, I know I moved there for the parties, but that sounded nice, and then I was like, okay. I tried to get involved, and it just wasn't really working out for me. So I was like, I want to move back home. So my parents let me. They love me. My dad was actually teaching a course at UTA, so I was able to kind of get a little bit of connection going there, and I transferred to UTA. My parents were living in Fort Worth at the time. So yeah, I wanted to be closer to my family because I missed them. And I started taking courses full-time at UTA. I was doing mostly online and working full-time at that point. And I was doing a couple of on-campus classes, like I think I was doing 2. And that's kind of what my life was looking like until I found out I was pregnant with my first baby. So, yeah, she's so cute, she was so squishy. So her name is Mila, and yeah, I found out I was pregnant with her, and kind of my life changed completely, probably, yeah. And my priorities were shifted a little bit. So the first thing to go was working, because I was living with my parents. So they were gracious enough to let me and my baby stay with them, because they were just an amazing support system. But I was still taking classes. I really felt like that's what I should have been doing. Like, that's kind of what everyone else was doing. So I was like, all right, I want to stay in school. So I just dropped the classes that I was going to be taking on campus, and I was doing online work. So I was pretty much just going to school, taking care of my baby, getting settled into motherhood, just enjoying all of it, and trying to build a better life for us. And then I got pregnant again. So this is my second baby. Her name is Zara. So yeah. So pretty much after I got pregnant with Zara, all bets were off, and I was like, okay, I can't go to school anymore, and I need to work. So I started working at a daycare, because I was like, okay, I can work the system a little bit. I can work at a daycare, and my kids can go there, and I'll get some form of discount because I work there. So that worked for a while, until tuition prices went up, And then I was pretty much hardly breaking even from what I was making to what I was having to pay for tuition. So then I go back to my parents because that's what kind of child I am. And I'm like, all right, this isn't working. And they're like, okay, like, you know, we can go back to the drawing board and help you figure out where to go next. So this is kind of what my life had come to. I wasn't in school, I wasn't working, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do and be. I found out for the better part of my life, I kind of just said things that I wanted to be that sounded good. Like I thought I wanted to go to law school, I didn't. I was like, oh yeah, I'll get into fashion. That's not for me either. So I couldn't really like put my finger on like what I was supposed to be doing in life. I knew I liked talking to people. I knew I loved like social media and technology. Like all of that like drew me in, but I couldn't arrive at that conclusion on my own for some strange reason. So one day, my mom came home super excited. At the time, my mom was a family advocate. So she came home talking to me about this parent who had graduated from a tech course. And I was like, a tech course? Okay. And she told me about it. She's like, it's completely free. I was like, it's definitely not completely free. Nothing is free. And so I decided to Google it. I looked at it for a brief second. I was like, nah, this doesn't look like it's for me. And so she circled back to it and kept talking about it. And so she was like, just go ahead and apply and see what happens. I know you think it's a scam, but just go and apply. You know, what's the worst that can happen, right? So I go for the info session. You guys, the tech course that I took was the A+ course with a company, an IT training course with Perscolis. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Perscolis. They provide free IT training, and they now offer even more courses than what I knew about. At the time, they offered a 10-week course, which is what I took, a 15-week course that will give you a A+ and a Network Plus certification, and now they're doing even more. So Perscolis is pretty much where my life completely changed. So if you guys want any more information on Perscolis, let me know. They're not paying me to say this also. This is legitimately how I feel. So to get into Perscolis, I had to take an assessment test. I have like the worst test anxiety ever. So I was like, I bombed it, I'm not getting in. Somehow I passed, I got in, I was like, great, awesome. They don't require you to have any technical background or education or anything like that. So that's really awesome about them. And so yeah, I was accepted at the beginning of October of 2018, and then I began somewhere around that time as well. And so like I said, I took the 10-week A+ course, and I ended up doing over 400 hours of hands-on IT training. They also have like a classroom setting, so you're in the class 8 hours a day, kind of like exactly like school. You have an instructor, and they have the most patient and I'll say like thorough instructors that I have ever like encountered in my life. You could probably ask them the same 3 questions and they'll try to find 3 different ways to explain it to you. It's that kind of environment, and if anyone is interested in getting like their foot in the door with tech, this is a great way to do it. So after that, I passed my exam, I certified, I was so excited because it was the most difficult thing I'd ever done in my entire life, okay? I liked computers, but I didn't know anything about a CPU or hard drive or why I needed to know RAM speeds or anything like that. I was like, okay. So I prayed so hard to pass my exam. I certified and passed both parts, which was super exciting. And then I graduated from Perscolis. So I was just like on a high in life. I was like, this is all great. You know, life is amazing. I was so proud of myself. My family was proud of me. So I was super thrilled. You know, I was ready to go. And then I realized that maybe, you know, it wasn't going to go how I thought it was going to go. So I had seen my peers from Perscolis getting jobs like right out the door, you know, before we even ended the course, they were getting jobs. So I was like, that's going to be me, that's going to be me. And it kept not being me. I was like, why is it not being me? So after the course ended, I was kind of like growing impatient with the looking for a job process, which I think we've all been there, and it can be 100% discouraging. So I was doing all the right things technically, you know, I was putting in applications, following up. We had a career coach who like taught us how to make our resumes more appealing and how to make them surface in the like automated systems that a lot of companies use to find applicants and candidates. So I was doing all these things. I'm like, why am I not getting a job, okay? And so I was getting kind of discouraged, and the high of Perscolis and graduating and all of that was wearing off, and I was like, okay, I went through Preschola so I can get a better job, but I don't have a job, so I have the certification. What am I supposed to do? So I was kind of down in the dumps, and I was very transparent with my career coach about that and how I was kind of feeling. And so every time there was a job opportunity, she would reach out to me. So Alkami was having speed interviews at Preschola 1 month, and I had seen her post about it, but I wasn't super interested in it for some reason. I didn't like the idea of only having 15 minutes to interview with someone. I don't feel like you can really capture someone's personality and who they are in 15 minutes. I still kind of feel that way. I feel like it's kind of risky, but I was like, you know what? I circled back to, I was like, I'm gonna go to that, because we'll see what happens, okay? So I went to the speed interviews. There was about, I want to say between 12 and 15 people that were interviewing, and I interviewed with who is now my boss. He and our team lead were doing interviews, so you could either interview with my boss or our team lead, and all of the other students were like not wanting to interview with who is not my boss, but I was like, all right, I'll just go ahead and do it. I could not read how my interview went at all. I was like, this probably went awfully. I told a joke and he didn't laugh, and I was like, oh man. I was like, oh gosh, okay. So my mom was asking how it went. I was like, I really don't know. I had kind of like, throwing my hands up at that point, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna keep putting in applications. So the end of that following week, I was actually sent an email from our recruiting coordinator. I don't know her technical title, but her name is Courtney, and she reached out to me for an on-site interview. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. So I came on site, and I felt even more in love, because what I had experienced thus far, I had completely loved. I read the Glassdoor reviews. I had been notified that they give free lunch. I was like so ready. I was like, yes. So pretty much after my on-site interview, I felt really good about it. I was like, okay, I think that I would be a good fit here, and I think that they felt the same way. And at the end of that week, the following week, I was sent an offer letter, and of course I accepted, and I was so excited. I actually dug up those emails, and I read over them, and I misspelled so many words just because I was typing that fast. I didn't want them to think for a second that I wasn't interested, so I was like, okay, yes. So that is pretty much when I started full-time at Alkami. I started on the 11th of March of last year, and honestly, I have been on go ever since. I haven't looked back at all, and I've just appreciated and taken in every second and every moment of what I do every day. And people think I have worked here for years just because the role that I'm in now, I'm a support technician at the help desk. I'm always everywhere in different places. So I know a bunch of, I won't say all, but a good majority of the people that work at Alkami. And I'm just super grateful for the experience and the ability to be able to get to where I am. And honestly, the biggest turning point was Preschola. So again, if anyone is interested or knows someone who might want to get into tech, it's free training, and they will teach you as much as you want to learn. So that's my picture that I was forced to take, but I ended up liking it. So I used it. Oh, and this quote right here, that kind of resonated with me. It's actually in my planner right now, just because if anyone in here is like me, I'm constantly on go, like I said, and sometimes I'm always wanting more. You're constantly wanting to level up, and you're wanting more and more. And so I kind of have to remind myself to be grateful for the moment, and to be in the moment, and to realize that I am where I need to be, and that me having ambitions is good, but to also be appreciative, because there was at some point in my life that I only prayed to be where I am right now. So that's kind of my story, and this is my role and what I kind of do now. So going into a corporate space after working pretty much retail my entire life was a huge adjustment. Granted, I wouldn't have wanted to do it anywhere but here, because it's kind of lax here. So you can get away with wearing jeans every day. So it's not super, uptight, but it was definitely still an adjustment for me. Also, it's my first tech job, and so I didn't really know what to expect, but there was a lot to learn is what I did know. We have a ton of different systems and softwares that we admin at the help desk, and you kind of have to be knowledgeable in all of them to help troubleshoot any issues that people encounter with them. There are still problems. People are like, oh, this won't work, and I'm like, okay, and then Google real quick just to make sure that I actually know what you're talking about. And then we see a vast variety of different issues at the help desk, which is why I think it's a good place for me to have started, because it helped me gain knowledge on a lot of different things, and it also helped me kind of know where I wanted to go next. So right now I'm actually taking a few courses to become an MDM administrator, which is pretty much a mobile device admin. I'm super into Intune, and we have a MDM solution called Jamf here that we use for our Macs, and so I've dived completely into that, and my boss is full force supporting it, so I'm really excited for that. But I wouldn't have known about any of these things had I not worked at the help desk. Okay, so sorry guys, I didn't even transition. So I thought I would do a little bit of troubleshooting exercises with you guys. These are really light, nothing too heavy, nothing super duper technical. But I kind of wanted to show you guys some of the issues that we run into at the help desk and how we go about our troubleshooting. So I wanted you guys to be involved on this discussion and kind of help us talk through some of these issues and how maybe you would go about troubleshooting them. So this one was one of the more difficult ones that I ran into. It seems pretty simple, but if you don't know the back end of inside of emails, then you probably won't know where to go with this. So I thought we would kind of do some investigative work and solve a couple of word problems. I only have 2 different scenarios, but this one was one of the more difficult ones that I had to do a little bit of research on. And so I'll let you guys read it. I don't know if you want me to read it to you or not. You want me to read it? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so the first one is pretty much about emails. So Emily, an executive assistant, was asked to send an email on behalf of her company's legal officer containing some very important information that had been requested for licensing purposes. Emily made sure to prioritize sending this email before she left work on a Friday afternoon. After returning to work from the weekend, Emily was greeted by her unhappy boss and asked why she had not sent the email that he asked her to send. Emily, frazzled, was certain that she had sent the email and even pulled up her account to confirm that it was sent. So why hadn't the licensing company received it? The legal officer himself even attempted to resend the same email and it still was not being received. Were they doing something wrong? Had the email actually been sent? Where would you guys start your troubleshooting? I'm curious, do you guys know the deep back end of email, or is it kind of just you click send and you know it gets there? The second option? Okay. Do you guys have any guesses of what kind of went wrong at all before I kind of I'm sorry? The spelling. Yeah. That is something that you would definitely check. So I don't think in this case it had to do with the spelling. Does anyone have any guesses? What's that?
I worked in insurance, and I know that when you send sensitive information, our company would not allow things to go out. But we would get a nasty email saying,
okay.
Send that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Sometimes they have some filtering set up. So, and normally that stuff is you would get something back and say, hey, this was not sent due to this. You got something back there? Oh, no? Okay. Yes.
Is this Exchange or Gmail?
This is probably, we'll say Gmail just because we're a Gmail environment here.
So you would have to give somebody access to send on behalf of them. Mm-hmm. And typically the original sender would have to approve it. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
So that's super deeper than what I was going with. So we're saying that she sent it from her email on behalf of herself, but it was just information they needed. It didn't necessarily matter who gave it to them, they just needed it. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So we'll kind of dive into that really briefly. So this is my very, very watered down flowchart that I kind of just put up here just to kind of show you guys the path of an email. So when you send your email, it doesn't just go directly to that person's inbox and it's all right, I'm here, cool. It has to pass through several servers and they can really get hung up at any point. So I kind of popped them up here. It goes through the local name server and then DNS, and then right in here is where MX records happen. So MX records are a very important part of email because there are requirements inside of MX records. So I didn't want to go super into the actual records that are inside MX records, but pretty much what has to happen, there's a record called a DMARC and a DKIM and SPF, and those things have to have certain, like qualities to the actual domain's IP. So when it goes right here, it asks for the MX records. And so if DMARC or SPF or DChem is not passing, that email will not be put through. So in short, if someone's saying they're not receiving your email and you've troubleshooted like everything else, it could be something within their MX record settings is probably what is off. And the only reason that I know this is because we had a few FIs that were not receiving Alkami emails, and we also had a few people that were not receiving Alkami emails. So my boss actually, when he was on his way to vacation, had to get on the phone and explain to them that the configuration error was on their end and not our end. So that's pretty much the short of email. If you guys want me to talk to you deeper about MX records, I know this is not the most hot topic, but just to have a basic understanding of email, I think is kind of helpful, because after talking to people about it, I understand that most people don't even know. Like, they're just like, yeah, it probably hit the server somewhere, and it probably sent it somewhere. But it's a very simple thing to know, but it's also like a good thing to kind of have in the backlog of your brain. So if you ever run into this, you can kind of know like something to Google at least, like, hey, what are the MX records for this domain? And then you can kind of look, and whoever has access to changing them can configure them correctly, because most people don't even know about them, let alone how to configure them. So that's our first one. What probably happened is it didn't pass DMARC. That's the one that will probably decline an email from going through the most. So there are specific numbers, like it has to be passing 2 out of something. I don't remember the specifics of it, but that's pretty much in short where the email got hung up. So yes, Emily did her job. Should she get fired? Can she stay? I think she can stay because it wasn't her fault this time. All right, so we're gonna go to the next scenario. This one's also super like easygoing, watered down. I did not want to bore you guys all the way to death. So, fun fact, we have a digital designer named Tex here, so I named this guy Rex. Okay, so I'll read this to you. This is kind of a lot of words. Rex, a digital designer, is working on his company's new logo and needs to make it available to the marketing team in Dropbox by the end of the day, no later than today. They absolutely need it. Rex is finally finished with the last minute edits and goes to upload the logo. After opening his browser, he realizes the web page did not load. After attempting to refresh the page multiple times, he decides to check his Wi-Fi, which appears to be connected but says no internet. Is there an issue with the Wi-Fi or with Rex's machine? What would you check next? So first, I want a disclaimer. I don't even know if this is how like designers upload stuff. I just made it up because I'm not a designer. But point is, his internet isn't working, or something with the internet is not working. So what would you guys check next? Like if this was happening to you, you go to upload something, your paper's due in like 1 second because you waited to the last minute to submit it, and your internet's not working, you're freaking out. What would you check next? Router? Okay.
This happens to me all the time.
Oh,
I'll check my computer.
Your computer
is really connected.
okay. So when you say you would check the router, what are you checking on it?
Turn it on.
Turn it on. Okay, honestly, like people make jokes about that, but that is the first thing that any technician would try. We try the easy stuff first, okay? Most of the time, it works out that way, okay? So typically with troubleshooting, we would decide if it's at the router side or if it's Rex's machine. So how I would do that is I would check these things. Can other devices connect to the Wi-Fi? So if you get your phone and you can connect to it, then you know it's your machine. If it's connected and working, it's the machine more than likely. If the machine can connect to a different network, can the machine connect to a different network? So that's also something that I would look at as well. So you guys are right. I put power cycle everything if possible. I would do it all, do all the things, especially if you don't have time to kind of be as intricate. You guys said it. The first thing you would do is turn it off and turn it back on. The next thing you guys could do if you want to take your troubleshooting a little bit further is check your IP address. And you can do this if you're on a Mac through ifconfig, on a PC, ipconfig, very basic, but you want to check what kind of IP you're getting. That will kind of let you know why your internet is not working. If you're getting like a 169 IP, typically there's something going on with your either DHCP or DNS. And so if you want to get even deeper, you can ping something and try to get out. If it fails, then you can trace the packets and kind of see where they're failing. If they're failing closer to the beginning, then it's probably an error with your internet, and then at that point I would just say call Spectrum or AT&T, whoever you have, to tell them that something isn't working out. If it's at your company, then you can for sure take it to IT from that point, or networking if you guys have a networking team. But these are very basic things, and yeah, I pretty much got very familiar with checking IPs, because you kind of have to like be able to recall them and know kind of what a bad IP is. So yeah, we were getting some weird things earlier this week where we were getting some AWS IPs, and I was like, this is not right. So that's pretty much as much troubleshooting talk as I'm going to do with you guys. I guess I'll open it up to any questions that you guys have, whether it's to this or Perscolis or anything else. But yeah, I kind of wanted to keep it light, and I know it's the end of the day. No one wants to hear anymore. Yes?
What do you do when you have a bad IP address?
Yes.
Happens to me.
So you can get a new one. You can request a new IP address. We can talk. She comes by my desk all the time. We're friends, and she's pretending we don't know each other. But yeah, that's pretty much next steps. If you want to, if you want to continue on, that's the next step that I would take. After I kind of.
How do you know you have a bad IP address?
So you wouldn't technically know. You could just like, so I'll tell you, like a 169 is issued by something called a PIPA. So you don't want an IP address by that. I think the other one's like 174 or something like that. I guess I should have kind of talked about how you would know. Google also. Or yeah, I don't better know how to quickly explain how you would know bad IP addresses. There's just you could even Google bad IP addresses, and there's literally a list of like, if you get this IP address, it means this. So I can't explain that to you quickly, but Google can. So if you are able to connect your phone to the internet or anything like that, then I would go ahead and Google that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. Do you guys have any questions?
Where can we find you online?
Oh yeah, that's the next thing. Right there. So I actually have a YouTube channel that I started, I don't even know how long ago. I am close to 1,000 subscribers, so I'm super turned about that. So guys, go subscribe if you want. I post a ton of mom content, so if you're not a mom, you probably won't want to watch, which is understandable. But I do like day in the life, I do cleaning videos, I'll do like things that are hopefully inspirational to other young moms. I'm a young single mom trying to figure your life out. So I capture all of our best moments and meltdowns on my channel. Also, I post a ton of pictures of my children, in case you didn't get enough right now, on our Instagram. Yeah, it's just pretty much me throwing up all of the pictures that I ever take of my kids on there. So again, I'm just disclaiming it. So if you go and follow and be like, oh my gosh, if she puts one more picture of her baby on here, like I told you. So yeah. That's pretty much where I'm at online. I do have Facebook, but I also keep that to my family and stuff. So anytime my aunts comment something mushy, I don't have to be worried. But yeah, that's pretty much my online presence. I'm not with the Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm not cool. Yeah, whatever you guys are into. I'm on Pinterest, but not that much. But I don't know. That's pretty much the only social media I have right now. I tried to do Twitter. I just can't. My brain just does not function that way. I don't know. I don't like it. But yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate all of you guys for coming out, listening to me talk. I'm hanging out here for a while, so if you guys want to ask me questions, feel free.
Yay.